Welcome to the Biology of Meaning miniseries. Today I bring you episode 10, part 2, Sweet Diabetes, Sweet Money, English version. Contribution from the BOM or BDS. The Biology of Meaning, BOM or BDS, doesn't ask what disease do you have, but rather, why does the organism maintain this biological state? In BOM, glucose is not an isolated marker. Diabetes is not a failure. It is a meaningful, sustained adaptive response. Biology doesn't make mistakes. It adapts to a prolonged conflict that hasn't been resolved. Glucose is emergency energy. From a BOM perspective, raising glucose levels makes fuel available. It's survival biology, not excess. The body doesn't lower glucose because it doesn't perceive safety. BOM says, as long as the conflict remains active, glucose cannot decrease. It's not metabolism. It's biological purpose. What is the BOM conflict in diabetes? The core biological conflict. I can't obtain what is sweet/vital/necessary to live, or I must bear more than my fair share to survive. This can be expressed as family burden, excessive responsibility, chronic self-demand, fear of losing material or emotional security. BOM doesn't moralize. It describes the program. The current medical system does not want to resolve the conflict. Because from BDS's perspective, resolving the conflict means lowering glucose levels. If glucose levels decrease, the diagnosis disappears. If the diagnosis disappears, the client disappears. The system treats the biological consequence, but avoids addressing the underlying meaning. That's not conspiracy. It's structure. Prediabetes, the expansion of the conflict into the market. BOM names it this way. Expanding the threshold of normality equals expanding the market of fear. From BOM's perspective, prediabetes is not a disease. It's an intermediate, adaptive state. Turning it into a fixed label makes the biological condition chronic. BOM reveals, naming without resolving fixes the program in the individual and collective unconscious. The macabre biologism. Biologism says, your body is failing, your pancreas isn't working, you're missing something forever, sending messages of hate, negativity, and illness instead of using language that reinforces self-love. The BOM responds, your body is functioning to survive. The problem is the context. The chronic issue isn't biology, it's conflict, a completely different message, a different paradigm. Pharaoh's statement, glucose isn't high because the body is failing, but because life, the social context, demands more than a body can give. This is part of Hamer's New German Medicine NMG interpretive framework. From the NMG theoretical framework, diabetes is interpreted as a conflict of deficiency or threat. I'm missing sweets. I can't get what I need. The pancreas would respond as an adaptive, not defective organ. Therefore, Pharaoh doesn't assert anything, but rather invites further investigation. What part of metabolic regulation responds to prolonged survival conflicts? Pharaoh learning. When a society makes survival a way of life, when society normalizes the pathological, when society accepts the violation of rights, biology responds by increasing energy. And when that response becomes chronic, it is called disease. Diabetes teaches us that the human body is not just about laboratory numbers. It reminds us that behind every number is a person with a history, context, stress, and unique biology. Our responsibility is not only to measure, but to understand, care for, and elevate the optimal level of functioning of the body-mind-soul unit that is humankind. It's not just glucose. It's life, context, and ethical care. Subscribe to the channel. Like this video. Share it to raise collective awareness. Watch the video about cholesterol. Don't forget that this mini-series is part of the Biology of Meaning training at its 3 levels, offered by ECEL Pharaoh on the Timed Up platform in Argentina.